All right, folks, treble impressions. Here we go. The hi-hat in that track with some speakers that have a tilted top end can sound really spitty, and it's hard to hear the detail in the hi-hat. Not so with these. It's actually really balanced. And on top of that, there's a cowbell over here to the left-hand side that, depending on the speaker that we're listening to, it's easy to miss the clarity of it and the positioning of it. It just sounds like it's kind of lost in the mix. And with this, it's very easy to hear it, to pick it up, to localize it. And the separation of all of the instruments is very good. All of those shakers and beads happening, you hear every single one of them, just with perfect clarity. That was wild. Wow. You guys can clearly hear the bass. Here we are talking about treble impressions, but when the bass hits in that, it's like, what? And then at the end, all of this crazy stuff that is happening, that percussive stuff that is happening, on a lot of speakers, that just sounds like a mess. And with the Spatials, it's amazing. Perfect clarity, precision, cuts like a sharp knife the way that it should be, and you have no trouble hearing all of those little details packed, full of resolution. That one was amazing. I love that reverb trell at the very end. You hear into the room. And also that track shows off the scale of the Sapphires. These things, yeah, they're big speakers, but they can sound huge. Really, really amazing. I like this track because a lot of the top end stuff and the way this track was mixed or mastered, whatever, I actually feel like it's a bit hot. And when you have a speaker that is already bright, it just sounds like a mess. And with the Sapphires, it's relaxed enough to where I can make my way through that track and it sounds the way that it should sound. All right, upper mid-range. Here we go. For those of you that are wondering, how do the Sapphires handle music that's not really well recorded? They do just fine. And even though I think these speakers are more about showing you the truth in the music and giving you as much resolution as they can, I think that you can still get by with listening to a lot of stuff that isn't recorded perfectly. And that was a good example of that. I love the horns on that one, and I love the organ that is layered underneath the horns. You can clearly identify which is which, and it sounds great. Yeah, so that is another track that can sound a little bit congested, a little bit forward, a little bit bright with some of the speakers that I've had in house. And with these, it sounds really natural, everything in its right place, and nothing is trying to cram resolution down my throat. There's plenty of clarity, but it doesn't sound like it's trying to force it. The guitar on that is messing with me because it sounds like it's playing from behind the Sapphires. So that's messing with me because I'm staring at a big wide baffle, and I would think that it's going to sound as if it's coming from the baffle forward, but that's not true at all. It actually sounds behind it over by my lamp. And so that is remarkable. I don't know what kind of hoodoo voodoo is going on with these things, but in terms of layering and depth, you are able to get that out of the Sapphires, and it doesn't sound like everything is playing from the speakers forward. You actually have quite a bit of depth, way more depth and way more layering than the original M3. No doubt about that. This is another track that can sound rather confusing on a lot of speakers. There's a lot going on in the mix, and with the Sapphires that I'm appreciating about them is it's able to separate instruments to the point where you can identify everything that is happening even in complex passages like that, where there's a lot being thrown your way, but it just doesn't sound like a big messy ball. You can clearly identify everything all on its own, and that's very good. All right, mid-range. First of all, that drum, the detail in that drum, percussion, whatever it is, congas, bongos, I don't know. Beyond the speaker, for sure, definitely beyond the speaker. And then you have these acoustics that have tons of body. The scale of what you're hearing is just it's so crazy how these things can just project sound and sound rich and full. The scale of the Sapphires is really something you need to hear. And then you have this bagpipe or whatever it is that is mixed really close to the acoustic over here, but yet so easy to identify. And there's a clear start and stop from each instrument. So it just doesn't sound like a big, confused mess. I don't know what kind of instrument that is, the little clacky hand thing that you got going on, all that beads and percussion, everything within that realm. Man, the Sapphires, they know how to extract that kind of, micro detail where you hear it all and you hear it all so clearly and it's so convincing. You close your eyes and you're just going, that's real, right? I mean, that sounds so real. Again, the depth and the layering within that track is really, really good. I love all of the individual hits of the congas and bongos on that, and they're drenched with reverb. So with every single hit, you're hearing the initial attack, the hit, but then you're hearing what happens after it. A lot of speakers have a very hard time with revealing that the way that these are revealing it. It just sounds right. The depth, the scale of what was just being played, and all of the little intricate details hearing into the recording. There's some kind of lower piano notes that are being played. The movement of that, you don't hear a lot of speakers that can do that like these can. Unbelievable. All right, mid bass. Here we go. Yeah, you want body in the mid bass. You want a confident mid bass. These can do that. And that chain, that bell, whatever it is, it's in the backyard. It's just crazy. There's a lot going on in that track, and it sounds rich, it sounds full, and it sounds precise. This is the kind of track that I want to hear And when a speaker can do it and do it as well as what we're hearing right now, it's a treat because you're given everything. You're given precise detail retrieval, and at the same time, you have body, you have soul in the music. It's the complete package, folks. For those that are wondering if the Sapphires can only play audiophile music and you can't enjoy electronic music, yeah, you can. No problem. The clarity and the localization of that sitar is bonkers. It sounds holographic. Like I want to go and shake that guy's hand and say, thanks for coming out today. I appreciate it. It's suspended in air. It's believable. It sounds natural. Phenomenal. Outside of that sitar, we have mid-bass to die for. It's quick. It is clear. There is just as much confidence in the mid-bass as there is in the bass. So you're getting confident mid-bass, confident bass, and there's no bleeding between the two. So the notes that are in the mid-bass region, they sit by themselves, they're their own voicing, and then you have lower than that, deeper bass, and you're able to clearly identify which is which. And with box speakers, that can be a challenge. So that electric bass and the congas and bongos, again, their own separate voicing. They're both playing some lower notes. You're hearing the hit of the slap of the conga and the bongo, but then you're actually getting the body of the conga and bongo. And you have an electric bass that is playing alongside them, and you're able to hear each one without any problem at all. That's a good sign because with some speakers, namely box speakers, that can sound smeared. It can sound as if it's all one thing, and it's not. And when you hear that level of resolution in mid-bass, it's hard to go back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, bass. Low 30s. I mean, do you really need a subwoofer? I won't be mad at you if you throw H-frame open baffle subs into the mix, but I don't think you need to rush out and do it. That is a shining example of what I have been preaching on this channel for so many years now. When you hear texture and tone in deep bass, paper cone drivers, open baffle, you can't go back because there is so much low-level resolution and detail that in the event where these were, take your pick, any box speaker, it's gonna be masked with the room. You're gonna hear smearing, you're gonna hear room boom, and you're not gonna get that level of resolution as we just heard, or I just heard, I hope you can hear it, as the Sapphires. It's not gonna happen. I just can't see anyone rushing out to get subs after they invest in these. I can't imagine anyone saying, what I really need now is deeper bass. I just don't see it happening. The bass is bananas. I don't know how else to describe it. It's that good. It's fast. It is clear. It has texture and tone. There's no point in me being long-winded about it. I'm just going to tell you, this is what world-class bass sounds like. All right, female vocals. We'll play, I've got 2 tracks of female vocals. We'll play them for, I don't know, maybe up to a minute for each one.
I don't wanna be loved by you, be loved by you. I don't need to be hurt or rescued, not by you. Not so close, you're eating my space. Don't inhale so much, you're choking me. Oh, everything you think you own or have the right to, isn't yours, not at all, so let go.
Sounding nice. Let's check out this other one.
I will get close to your heartache if you want to open your door. I'm feeling kinda lost when your mind is hiding whatever that is choking your chest. I can see it in your eyes that you're shaking 'cause you're holding it back. Maybe you'll make up your mind now. I'm here by your side. So let it all out of me. Let it all out of me. Oh, I will hold you in the dark, make you forget about what's wrong. Let it all out of me.
All right, in both of those examples, sounds great. Supernatural sounding, nothing sounds sibilant, nothing sounds forward, edgy, bright. All of the bad words that we would use to describe something that we don't want to hear, instead sounds engaging, it sounds natural, it sounds real. And in terms of the staging of both holographic, I can reach out and just touch the vocals. They are just, it is as real as it's going to get. All right, male vocals.
You tell me you're scared. You tell me you're weak, but I know you're stronger than what you think. And I know it's hard. It's rough, but we'll make it through, and I'll back you up. Wherever you're going, I'm going to. I'll follow you through the black and the blue, whatever the...
All right, let's check out the next one.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.
So first of all, those acoustics pop on the Spatials. I mean, these Sapphires, when it comes to that type of resolution, you know, it just, I can't get over it. You don't have a crossover at your typical 1500, 2K, 2500. Crossover is way lower than that, as far down as 600 hertz, below that. And because of that, you just have so much clarity from that point and above it that any type of details that is happening within that bandwidth, it just pops. And my goodness me, that was a great example of that. Now, with both male vocals, what I'm listening for is, as we get into some lower frequencies where might be dancing into the woofer territory, are things starting to sound woofy and colored and unnatural? For crying out loud, we have this big 15-inch woofer, and you might think that's going to sound bloated or too chesty, and the truth is, it doesn't. In both examples, it sounds natural and realistic. So the voicing that Clayton has done and the integration of that woofer to the mid-range and tweeter, it's really balanced. It's really well done, and hats off. All right. That was fun.